Well, I'm very excited to jump into today's episode. We've got a great guest that's local to Birmingham, but is doing real estate really all throughout the country. I've got Mr. Ty Taylor with me. Ty, a.k.a. The Flip Man, is right here in the Alleria Studios. What's going on, Mr. Flip Man?
Oh, it's just another day, man. A rainy day in Birmingham, trying to chase the next check.
So, chasing the next check. I want to talk about that here in a second, about what you're doing and how you're doing it so successfully and how you've been doing it for a really long period of time right here in Birmingham. So I found out about, what do I call you? I call you Ty? I call you the Flip Man? What do you want me to call you?
Either or works, man.
All
That's
right.
fine.
I'm going to call you Ty for now. So I found out, I'm just searching the internet like I do. We were talking offline a second ago that, Ty's like this internet junkie too, just kind of searching the internet for real estate, what's going on. I like to search what's going on in Birmingham, what's going on in the state of Alabama, because I want to be up to date with what's going on in our state, because I have to bring it to you guys. And I come across this guy who's got hundreds of YouTube videos, if not more, got some stuff going on iTunes. He's the Flip Man, and I look at the phone number on there. It's a 205 area code, and I'm like, who is this guy? And so I just text you out of the blue a couple weeks ago. Just text me like, Ty, what's going on, man? This is Brian Trippe. I'd love to talk to you about real estate. And you called me up and we talked. So tell everybody who doesn't know who you are, because you're a little bit obscure now. You live in obscurity a little bit for Birmingham. Am I right or wrong?
Well, yes and no, but I was in, what is it called, Papados? Over on 280 restaurant, the seafood place.
Okay.
And I was there with my girlfriend and her best friend from Miami. My girlfriend lives in Meridian, Mississippi, and she was up. And I was trying to find us a seat. It was really busy, so they didn't really have any table seats. And I was walking around the bar because, I love just going to like a restaurant. But I go to the bar and eat, I don't drink or whatever. And so she knows that. So she said, well, see what they got around the bar. And so I'm walking around the bar. This guy stopped me, Flip Man. I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? Like that. He said, hey, man, I'm from Dallas, blah, blah, blah. I said, I was in town, and I knew you was here, man, and I saw you cross the room. And I said, that's a Flip Man. So when you walked over there, he said, I actually text you one time, whatever, and you answered my question. Or what I said, yeah, man. I said, what's up, man? I'm just trying to find a table or whatever. So to go into what you're saying, another little story is that I was in Bed Bath & Beyond, I think, in Hoover, and I was in there looking for a cutting board because I'm trying to eat better or whatever, which is very difficult. So I made up in my mind I was going to buy a cutting board, and I bought it's called a wok, W-O-K.
Right.
The big bowl-looking thing that you see in a lot of Asian restaurants.
Yep.
And so I had already prepared a couple of meals, and I was doing it in plates, and I said, it's got to be a better way than this. So one of my friends said, why don't you get a cutting board? So I went to Family Dollar, Walmart, and they were not big enough for me, so I thought about Bed Bath & Beyond. She said it's going to be too expensive for those or whatever. I said, don't worry about that. So I found the one I wanted. So I'm in there. I picked out the one I wanted. And this lady and this guy was looking at me. And she came over and hugged me. I'm like, man, is this somebody I used to talk to or something? Date or something? And she was like, I watch your videos all the time.
Wow.
And you have to just know me. I'm an introvert. I know people don't think it, but I'm an introvert. I was just too embarrassed. It was just funny, you know what I'm saying? And so her son was just like, I'm like, man, wow. I say, so anyway, so I guess I'm not known, but more so than what I think so.
Yeah,
whatever.
well, I'm just saying I said that, I don't want to try to crush your ego.
Yeah.
I was saying that from the standpoint of the investor community. You're helping a lot of people, and we're going to get that. We're going to talk about that. You're helping a lot of people through your educational videos, which I try to do as well. I try to put out a lot of content as well to try to give away as much as I can, because I think it's going to come back to me maybe other ways. I think you think that too. We'll talk about that in a second. Mm-hmm. But just going back to like the investor community, like I don't see you at any of the meetings. Not just ours, like any of them. Like I've been here in Birmingham for over 5 years, going on 6 years, and I've never seen you at any of the meetings. I've never, and I don't know who this guy is. So talk about that for a second though, like, because you're wholesaling right now primarily in Birmingham, but you do some stuff nationwide. Why don't more people know about you? That people that I know about you.
Well,
where are you? Why aren't you in these meetings, man?
Most of it that's by design because of just who I am. If I show up at a even though I know you right now or whatever, and I know Matt. I don't know if Matt shows up to
Matthew
me.
Gregory. Yeah, he comes to ours.
And so after I would greet you all, I probably wouldn't know it. Well, I may know a couple of other people because they might not know that other stuff that I do online or whatever. But as I said, I'm an introvert. If I go to a meeting, it does me no good because I'm not going to engage. Like I highly recommend when I'm, telling people what they need to do when they're starting out to try to get, especially when you're wholesaling, trying to meet players in the market.
Yep.
Is you need to go to the real meetings,
yes,
to network or whatever. But for me, I'm wasting my time because I'm not going to say anything to anyone. And so I used to go when I first started because that was recommended.
Right.
But it's just
so talk about that though, because I think that's an important point. Maybe some people out there are thinking, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years. I don't need to. It sounds to me like you just said I don't really need to meet anyone else. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm not saying I don't need to meet anyone. I just think it's there
are other ways to do it.
Yeah, see, because I'm not a salesperson. I have so much respect for people that can just walk up to people and just tell them what it is. Whether it's you're trying to sell something, you're trying to meet a lady or whatever and stuff. So I can't do that. So what I do, I spend the majority of my thoughts, Brian, on marketing and how I can get people to call me. Once you call me and it's something that I'm very knowledgeable about, which is I was wholesaling, then now you're on my playing field because you want something. So that's how I meet people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I meet. I got tons of phone numbers in my phone or whatever.
That's how you meet buyers.
Yeah,
you market for buyers. That's how you meet, obviously,
mm-hmm.
sellers, because we're always marketing for sellers. But that's your networking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Your networking is to try to market yourself. But flip me, I never got any marketing materials from you.
You and I have crossed paths before, right? You don't know it, but I didn't decide to go wait till this meeting, but it was a good thing or whatever.
He's about to tell me something. I'm so nervous right now.
No, but I sent a deal through someone else that it came back through you or whatever, and your name is your name is Unique Trippe or whatever. So we didn't do a deal because your phone number used to be, I think your banner sign number is 765-5555 something like that. 22 something like that. Okay, yeah. So.
Used to be. We had to get rid of it because.
So if we would have did a deal together, then it would be one thing.
So you're saying that you had someone else, like you had a deal and someone else was trying to sell it for you?
They presented it to you.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever. So I do a lot of that.
What deal was it? We didn't do it?
Oh, no, we didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
We didn't do it. I don't remember.
Okay, all right.
We didn't do it.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So let's touch on that some more because I think that's important. You put yourself out there in different kind of ways because there are more ways to network than just by going to REIA meetings. What are some things, if you don't mind sharing, what are some marketing things that you do to get your name out there to try to find buyers, especially new buyers that are entering the market, hedge funds? There's a new fund I feel like popping up in Birmingham every month or two.
Now I've had very little success with the hedge funds.
Okay.
Right. And now that does come from my lack of networking.
Okay.
I think that's one of the pitfalls or negative things of my, I guess, flaws as a personality, because I never had those opportunities where I had a buyer, a group, a fund just buying just 30 properties from me this year. I long for that. So but to answer your question, the way I get buyers is well, let me explain this first, Brian. A lot of times, there are a lot of ways to do this business. When people first get into business, some people say, hey, find your buyers first, they go find what they want. And then others say, go find a deal and let the deal create your buyers. I was taught the second way. And that's the way I teach it, is that, buyers are easy. It's not difficult to give away money. People that follow me know I say that a lot. What it is difficult to do is to get someone to give you a ton of equity in their house. That is very difficult. That's because they're giving you money in reality. So if I have a great deal, which, that's what I strive for on all of them. Sometimes, like anybody, I make mistakes on the numbers. But I'm gonna always have buyers that call me that I've never talked to before. Just like we talked about Matt. As long as I've been doing this, and as long as he's been doing it, we only crossed paths 2 years ago, and that was through a bird dog, basically.
Right.
And he was just like, well, I'm like, wow, man, I can't believe, you know what I'm saying? Just we've never, but that's the business. You won't ever know everybody that's doing it. Right.
If you don't go to the meetings, and I'm not saying everybody's in the meetings.
I wouldn't have even thought Matt would do that. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he's bigger than whatever, which we know what he is, but that's that. He's been to all my meetings except one out of 15 to 14 that we've done. Let me tell you another reason why I don't go to meetings. Let me tell you another reason. Yeah. Now I'm not going to even bring up the other.
No, it's okay. You can bring them up.
Okay.
Hey, we don't have any competition.
Okay. What's the name of the other deal?
Well, I'm not going to bring it up.
Oh, okay. Well, the one that's the oldest one.
The other one.
Yeah, the other one.
All right.
One of the other ones in Birmingham.
All right.
Yeah. Now, when I first started, I didn't think they catered to my form of investing.
They don't.
So that's what's probably more of a turnoff than anything.
So that's why there are a lot of reasons, but we wanted to try to create something different.
Yeah.
We don't do what everyone else is doing, and I think that's why we're having some success when other people aren't having success. We don't do whatever we encourage creative real estate investing.
They act like it didn't exist.
Right, and I'm not.
I'm not kidding. Now that was 15. Y'all know what they're doing
right,
now.
And we're not putting them. We're not putting down anybody.
Yeah.
People have their own way of doing things, and I can't even speak. I got kicked out. Just being completely honest, I got kicked out because we started our own thing. That's fine. I haven't been in one of their meetings in 15, 16, 17 months.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're doing. I can't speak for what they're doing, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the point here is, so you just mentioned something really interesting, is that you said the words, I long for having a buyer who would come in and buy 20, 30, 40 properties in a year from you. Not only will hedge funds or private equity funds do that, they're buying at 80, sometimes 85, sometimes 90 cents on the dollar, when you can't find that from your regular old investor. Matthew Gregory's not going to buy something at 90 cents on the dollar.
No.
But a fund very well could, because all they want, depending on the fund, they want 5, 6, 7%.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's great. Yeah.
So maybe the lesson here is there is more than one way to do things.
Yeah.
But maybe come to an REI meeting, guys. Come check us out, second Thursday of every month.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Ty, let's talk about wholesaling. All right, what do we got? He's trying to show me a text message right now, right in the middle of this thing. It said you just received some money.
Yeah.
So that's pretty. So let's talk about that. So Ty's sitting there bragging. He told me before we went on the air. He said, "I don't want to talk about money." And then he flashes up a text message that said, "You just made." I don't want to say what it was. You just made X amount of money, and obviously you weren't there. It was like something happened. You got systems set up to where whatever closings are happening and money is getting wired or transferred into your account.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I want to talk about how you wholesale, because there's lots of different ways to do it, and you're doing a lot of different things, but you told me before we went on that wholesaling's your bread and butter. Let's talk about wholesaling. This isn't like a how-to or an introduction to wholesaling, but give just a couple of, you've had success, you've been doing this for a long time. What are some of the keys to wholesaling? You've already mentioned one is to go get the deal first. And people, the hardest thing in this business is to find the deal. As one person said it, who's been on our podcast, as one person put it, if you can consistently find great real estate deals, you will be a millionaire. Period. If you can consistently find great deals, you will be a millionaire. That's it. The buyers will come, right? That's one nugget.
Any climate market, meaning like even back in 2008 and 9.
Up, down, sideways, doesn't matter.
If you found a great deal, there were still people out there buying. There's no question about it. It just was different. But to answer your question, I'm sorry.
No, the question is, that's one nugget. What are maybe one or two other things that you do when it comes to wholesaling that has made you as successful as you are?
Well, the main thing is that I always try to convey this to people. They'll always call me. I get just tons of text me. I put my number out there, so it is what it is. But one of the more common questions is, what should I do first, right? Okay, obviously you want to educate yourself. You need to have some level of understanding how a deal works, So we're assuming they know that. All right, so I let them just know, man. I said, man, it's not like I'm waving any magic wand or anything or doing anything. I'm definitely not smarter than you are. Where I live is not better in most cases if you have the same or similar population or whatever. But what I probably will do that a lot of people won't do, I'll take action. But I also understand that this business boils down to the title is wholesaling, but in reality, what you are is a marketer.
No doubt.
Because if you do an effective job of that, whether it's banner signs, whether it's direct mail, whether it's Google AdWords or Facebook ads, I haven't figured that part out yet.
None of us have.
Whether it's bird dogs or whatever, if you do an effective job of keeping your phone ring with people holding their hand up saying, hey, I got a house for sale, the world is yours. You can change your financial situation and change it forever. Because as you just mentioned before, if you can keep a good stream of great deals coming, you're gonna make money. Let me ask you this: what do you think the Empire State Building is worth? Over $1 billion?
Over $1 billion?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
We're gonna assume now. I'm pretty sure it is. If you thought you could get it for $500 million, do you think you can wholesale that?
You could probably wholesale it.
Probably in 10 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and when I say this, this is not political at all. This is just, this is from a long time ago too. But Donald Trump, the way he made his money in the beginning, he had not an assumable. He had an assignment contract. He had a contract.
Yeah. I
it all started with a contract.
Mm-hmm.
He had a contract on a great piece of property. He had no money, and he went and it was an option contract. Mm-hmm. Is what it was, not assignable. It was he put an option contract on an expensive building. Went and found some other people and got option contracts on all this stuff, and then put a deal together. And guys, if you can consistently do creative real estate, do stuff like that, where you're consistently finding great deals, you're never gonna have to worry about money ever again. Yeah. So Ty, the question is, so you bring it all back to taking action and marketing. Give us just, what do you think is the most, nobody wants to give away their secrets, and I'm not asking you to give away secrets.
I spill it.
But what is the most effective marketing technique that you use? Personally speaking, I don't think it truly matters the avenue you go. You just need to go deep in whatever you do. That's what I believe. What do you think is what is the most effective marketing channel for you to find good deals?
Well, I try to take it from the approach that people have very little money to work with, right? Okay, so you can get one color, depending on what size, but I like to use 9 by 24 or 12 by 18. That's the same square footage. 12 by 18 or 9 by 24 bandit signs. You can get 200 bandit signs for $200. If you have to work and deliver pizzas at night, drive Uber, you should be able to come up with $200. Yep. That's 200 bandit signs.
Yep.
Right now, don't think that those 200 bandit signs are going to automatically produce a deal, but in most markets, you can get away with them in some part of the market. Now, the larger the city, the more likely you can probably get away with it, right? Because, and just being transparent and real here, is that most time in the suburban areas, you're not going to be able to get away with bandit signs. Right. You can always test, and everybody want to be where other signs don't exist, especially if you don't know anything about it, and they'll put them out in there because they think they're the only one there. But what I always tell people, go find out where they already exist and go there. You know what I'm saying? Because those guys are not wasting their time and money if those signs are not producing for them. Well, so to answer your question, I'm normally going to recommend bandit signs. So that doesn't work for some people because some people are just, because they are illegal in most states, cities. Let me put it like this. Cities, states, and counties have laws on the books. I don't care where you are against them, but it's mighty funny they're everywhere during political season or whatever. So, but that's why I like to preach bandit signs from the simple fact that they're so inexpensive, but you could take a $200 investment and it may turn into $16,000, $17,000.
Totally.
I don't know another business you can do that in.
Totally. So, a couple things. Bandit signs. First of all, you answered the question as if, like what you teach, but the question was actually, what is the most effective marketing channel for you?
Bandit signs.
Okay,
Bandit
that's
signs.
fair.
Yeah.
So this is the thing about bandit signs. I talk about this all the time. We have a video on YouTube where we're out there hanging up bandit signs.
Mm-hmm.
They are illegal in most municipalities, if not all, they're in and around Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. I equate it to driving 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Is it illegal? Yes.
That's a great way to
Are
explain
you going to
it.
get caught? Probably not. In most areas, not all areas. Like you said, the suburban areas. We don't go to Pinson. We don't go to in the city of Centerpoint. We don't go in the city of Hueytown. We know there are certain Hoover. We don't touch Hoover. But there are some places like, I'm giving away a little secret right here, but there's some places like Trussville, where I live, and you can get away with bandit signs in Trussville right now. Probably not forever, but you can get away with it right now because there are people.
I rarely put signs over there.
But the municipality, and I don't want the wrong people, the right people to get a hold of this. So let me just leave it right there. If you are a city official for the city of Trussville, then you need to do a better job of getting these bandit signs cleaned up. Let me just say it that way. Because I live in Trussville.
These comments are for entertainment purposes only.
There we go. But you see the gist I'm getting at. Like, it is illegal. I don't encourage illegal behavior. So if you do go hang up bandit signs, that is 100% on you. There are a lot of different ways that you can do. Have you ever tried bandit signs on wheels? Have you ever tried? There's a guy in Huntsville that pulls a trailer with a big old billboard on the trailer that says "We buy houses." Have you ever tried anything like that?
Dude, I'm the king of copycatting. You've always placed signs with cable ties, right? Or that's some reason for you.
Okay, I'm not talking about that on air. I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
We can talk about that offline.
I was going to say I'm a great copycatter. I like to think I'm ranked in the world as a copycatter.
Yeah,
right?
Well, because the first person the guy who invents something is usually the guy that loses a bunch of money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The guy who comes along and copies it is the guy who usually makes a lot of money.
So to answer your question about that, I had a billboard not far from where we are.
We better not be don't talk in too much detail now.
No, it was a legal billboard.
Okay, yeah.
You know, back in, you remember, you know where the CVS is located right now? Not the CVS, but the Walgreens is right, just right
You're talking about right here, Robo?
Yeah,
Okay,
It used to be a billboard right there.
Okay.
Before Walgreens bought the property and they took away the billboard.
Okay.
So you know there's a traffic light right there. I had one of those big bulletin billboards. I was paying $1,500 a month.
Dang.
It said 205 homes. And my phone number back then was 205-444-3030. Great number. I can't believe I let that number go. And I was paying $1,500 a month.
That's a lot.
And I paid that for 18 months. It probably barely paid itself. I got caught up in more, hey, I'm seeing my business name in the lights than what it was actually producing for me. But to answer your question, I've had my signage on vehicles that I've owned. You probably seen my guy that's on the corner out here.
That's you?
That's me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm on the corner holding the sign out there.
Okay.
And I've done all kind of stuff, man, as far as trying to, just do different techniques to try to get my phone ring.
Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
The guy on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Work or not work? Like is it a net positive?
I'm going to say it's even.
Okay.
It's even. The first guy I hired was...
Hold on. First, for the people that don't know what we're talking about, that was you. Ty had a guy on many corners, but over here where our office is, had a guy on a corner holding up a gigantic sign that said, "We buy houses." And we caught him on video a couple times. We made a video about him.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. All right, so go ahead.
And the first guy I hired was unbelievable. He would walk back and forth with the sign. This guy probably weighed 130 pounds. If it was too windy, the sign would literally almost blow him over. You know what I'm saying? But he had so many issues personally, with his family life. He was basically homeless. It was he and his wife, and they had 7 kids living in a hotel, right? And so but he worked so hard for me that I got caught up into, I was going to buy him groceries, everything. I had made a dime off, and this was weeks going on. He told me that my wife gets me fired off of every job. And that's literally what happened, or whatever. She wouldn't allow him to work. Just every issue, she couldn't handle it, and he was their only source of income outside of whatever they were getting government supplemental wise or whatever. But he was working his butt off, and my phone was ringing. So I went on to hire who I hired, and he just stands there. So it's limited on the number of calls every one. When that guy was working, it was worth every dime that I was paying him.
And you paid him what, $10?
I paid $10 an hour. Yeah.
And you'd have him out there for what, 3-4 hours or something at a time?
I was having him out there between 4 to 6 hours a day, 4 or 5 times a day a week, 4 or 5 times a week.
It definitely caught people's attention.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
That was really creative. So who'd you copy that from? Because you said you copied everything.
Who did I get that from? I think you know what? We hadn't gotten into this, but I had when I was in the gold buying business, I used to use those guys to promote, where the store was located. And so it just clicked in my head one day, why don't I do that for houses or whatever? So I just decided what size I wanted to go with, because I don't want them spinning it around, because I want them to see the message and the numbers. So.
All right, so this is what I've learned. You talked about the $1,500 a month for the billboard, which is really high. I mean, I've done billboards, and we've got them as low as, like, through Lamar, and as low as $750, $800.
Well, it's all. Yeah, that was because it was right at that light, getting off the freeway, and I think the traffic count was really approaching 40,000 a day.
Yeah.
So
we did billboards. We were on TV. We did radio.
I've done that.
We've done everything that you can possibly think of doing. The high dollar stuff, the cheap stuff, and you know what ends up happening? All that stuff is a relative net zero. You end up about breaking even. And we're just going back to direct mail. We're just going back to postcards, tried and true. And anyone listening to this, look, you knock yourself out. Go do the TV, the radio, the billboards. Knock yourselves out, guys. The tried and true direct mail, bandit signs, the stuff that doesn't cost as much as you think it costs is the stuff that works every time. And we did Google AdWords. Google AdWords is insane right now.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I mean, it's $15-$20 a click.
I just checked on this. Range from 20 to 45 in the Birmingham market.
It's not. I mean, there are people. I can't talk about the Birmingham market, but I know guys, and we had Dan Barrett on, a couple months ago, who's AdWords nerds. He's a guy that talks about this all the time. You're talking about the per lead. He's in the $300 per lead, range. The per lead, not per deal, per lead.
Per lead, yeah. That's different.
That's high.
That's high. Yeah.
And then Facebook, we've been testing Facebook as well. I think a lot of people have been testing. It's hard. We were at $200 and $300 a lead on Facebook, and they weren't even good leads.
They weren't even good leads.
So we're just, and we didn't do it for a really long time either. So, guys, tried and true, direct mail, postcards. We've been doing we can get a postcard printed and stamped and sent for under 40 cents. Per postcard.
I should have worn my mail to flip shirt.
So the flip man is telling you bandit signs. If you go on, we get what I teach. I wrote a little wholesale manual about how to wholesale right here in Birmingham, and it's right there in that manual. Go to dirtcheapsigns.com. Get you 100 blank 18 by 24 yellow bandit signs. You can get them for $80 delivered to your door. $80. You can cut them in half. Now you got 200 of the 12 by 18s for $80 something, and you got 200 bandit signs for $80, and write on them with a dang Sharpie, with a Magnum size Sharpie. Mm-hmm. Don't try to get cute. Just write "We buy houses" or "I buy houses" and your phone number. That's it. Don't try to get cute with it. Don't try to get creative outside. The people who get creative and go outside the box, they're the ones who get slaughtered. Mm-hmm. And it's what I've seen every time. What do you think?
Yeah, you only have a small area that you can write that message on. You have to understand that people, number one, are not looking for your message. So visibility is very important. So you can only say we buy houses. People want to say all kind of stuff and a phone number or whatever. You really don't even have a room for it if you handwriting them for real. Really for a website address or whatever. So yeah, you have to understand people are not looking for your message in traffic. So it needs to be as clear and broad as possible, where they can jot down the information as far as your contact information. So.
And getting a good phone number helps too.
Oh yeah.
So we had to drop that. We had 765-2222.
That's why I don't see it anymore.
We had to drop it. We got it got in the wrong hands, and they knew that it was us, so we stopped. We got some threatening stuff. So.
Oh, I gotten threatened by the guy that handles a certain area of the market for the county, and he just wanted me just to sit up there and just tell him who I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Well, we don't have to get into all the details of this, but it's you got to be really careful. We've gone to all virtual numbers now. That was an iPhone number. That was like a main number that you could trace back to my name.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So we had to get rid of that.
Okay.
We don't do that anymore.
Okay.
So we're all virtual numbers. We use Vumber, just in case anyone is wondering. We use Vumber, VUMBER.com. You can get 8 phone numbers for $30 a month. So we do that. So Ty, you said take action earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you see this because you do a lot of education, you do a lot of teaching. I think this is the number one thing that people don't. It's the easiest thing. Maybe not mentally, but physically, it's the easiest thing you can do. Is the number one mistake I see is that people will not take action consistently.
Well, yeah, I guess consistently.
Consistently, so they might get it. Maybe they're listening to this right now, getting a little bit of motivation. You just got done talking about spending a couple $100 and potentially making $15,000 to $20,000 on a wholesale deal. They might try it, maybe for a week or two. Maybe go out and put up 20 or 30 bandit signs. Not the whole 200. They'll put up 20 or 30 because it's hard. It's not easy, and they're gonna quit. The people that stick with this, I don't know of anyone. If you stick with it, I don't know of anyone not making money.
I don't either. If you stick with it consistently.
Yeah.
Ideally, what you want to do, if you're doing direct mail, I think you have to be a little bit more consistent with your budget and what you can spend on it, because it can be more expensive than bandit signs. But if you say you're going to use direct mail, you need to, in my opinion, say, hey, I'm going to do this for 6 months. And I have this amount of money to spend every month on it, and just stay with it. You'll stumble into a deal.
And the thing about direct mail too is that's perfect. What you just said is exactly what I teach. You need to be consistent with it. If your budget's $1,000 a month, then like clockwork. You need to do it and don't let up. And now I'm trying to remember where I was about to go with that. But I see a lot of mistakes with direct mail. This is what I was gonna say. What I see is that sometimes people want to spend. They've got that $1,000 a month, and they can put it towards the direct mail, which will get them 2,000 postcards a month, more than 2,500. But they don't have the capacity to take the phone calls. They don't have somebody might be working a full-time job, or if you can't take all the calls, then you're sending out too many. Just don't send out that many. If you don't have someone taking the calls for you, just don't do that much. Just stay consistent. Start slow. Start low amount and just go.
You mean like live, or just because unless you got to answer the service?
Right. So
you
not only
you
live.
always call them back.
Right. You call them back, but too many are coming in.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Too many. This is our full-time job.
Well, when I started, I had a full-time gig now, so
I get it.
I worked at Bell South, formerly Bell South, which is now AT&T, and a lot of people. It's hard for me, and I don't have kids and stuff, so I get it or whatever. But it's hard for me when people say I don't have time to do it, and then I'll ask them, well, what do you do? And they say this. I said, well, what hours do you work? I would normally work from 8 to 4:30 or 8 to 4. I said, well, they're still
a couple hours in the morning, about 4 or 5 at night. What about weekends?
Yeah, we still have quite a few hours left in the day to do some things. You might need to stop watching the Kardashians.
It's funny. All right, I got a couple things. You good on time?
Oh yeah.
We've been going for a while, but I got a couple more things I want to ask you about. You said, what's the phrase you used earlier about it's not hard to find someone to take your money? What was the phrase you used?
It's not hard to give away money.
It's not hard to give away money.
As
in the equity in these deals that you're giving to rehabbers or people that want to the houses.
Yeah, I have a great analogy, I guess is the word for that. Is that you and I have a job, right? And we're on University Boulevard down, by UAB. You're on one side of the street, I'm on the other side of the street. You have an empty bag, and your job is to ask enough people walking by or driving by to fill that bag with $50,000, right? I'm on the other corner, I have a bag with $50,000 in it, all right? I'm representing the buyer side of a transaction, you're representing the seller side of the transaction. Who has the harder job?
The person that needs to get the 50,000, right?
That's you, the seller.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on the other corner with the 50,000 in the bag. I can be, and they give me the option to be a little creative to make money. So, how difficult do you think it would be for me to ask? I probably wouldn't get past 2 or 3 people. A lot of people might think I'm trying to scam them. But I say I got this bag with $50,000 in it. If I keep 10 and give you the 40, well, if I give you 40, will you allow me to keep 10? You think I can accomplish that?
I hope so.
That's a wholesale transaction.
Right.
So that's the easy part. The buyer is the easy part. It's not difficult to give away money because that's what you are doing when you find a great deal.
Right.
Because you establish enough equity where you can make money and the buyer can invest whatever they're going to invest, and their return on investment is worth their while of paying you X number of dollars. But what is hard, it may take you 6 months to come over 50 grand with that empty bag. You know what I'm saying? So that's the hard part. So again, both work, because I know people have gone out and found the buyers and go find what they want. But the thing about that, if you do this business long enough, you can have a guy that says, I want houses in Center Point, a 3-2, as long as it's under $40,000 I want it, and then you go to them, oh, it's not a good time right now. So you want to build a buyer's list, but you want to negotiate, in my opinion, like you don't have a buyer. Regardless, because that should give you an edge on your negotiations. That hey,
sometimes you lose deals though that way.
Without having a buyer ready.
No, because what I heard you say is that you need to negotiate as if you don't have a buyer. So what that means to me is that you need to go really low.
Well, yeah, you have to be reasonable, but you're always trying to get the best deal. Now, the way I phrase when I'm negotiating, because I'm not a hard negotiator. Number one. Right, and I lose deals sometimes in that sense because I don't probably continue at them. I don't think my follow up is good as it should be or whatever. But that's why I know anybody can do this because I know I'm not perfect at this. I got a lot of flaws in the game or whatever. So, the way I negotiate with someone, my goal is to get them to give me their least. It doesn't always happen, right? So, but if they force me into making an offer, I'm going to make an offer. The rule of thumb that I was taught and I teach is I'm going to make an offer that I just feel horrible about. I'm embarrassed to make the offer. Yeah. Normally you've offered low enough. I'm not expecting them to accept it, but my follow-up question would be if they don't hang up, my follow-up question would be, well, how close can you come to that amount? Normally I'm going to get there, at least the amount. So if that number work for me, then we move forward. If it doesn't.
That's a good question. I say, well, what can you do? Yeah. That's my question.
Yeah, okay.
That's my follow-up question.
All right.
You can't. Well, what can you do?
Yeah.
I like it, man. I like it. So you said something also earlier. I said, how are you doing? And you said, I'm chasing the next check, or I'm chasing the check.
Oh yeah.
Just talk about that mentality for a second. Chasing the check.
Yeah, I like another thing I like to tell people. I don't know everything, but I know how to get a check. And chasing the next check is always, I'll have students and non-students that I deal with, and they'll just have one deal that they're focusing on and say, well, what else do you have going? Well, I thought I just need to focus on that. I said, no, don't do that. I say, this stuff is not guaranteed until you get a check in your hand. So you need to have as many deals pending as possible. So when I say chase the next check, that's what I mean. Is that I know what I got in the pipeline, but I'm still looking for more, because if you do this in the wholesale side of the business, if you do this business long enough, you're gonna have situations where you do not find a buyer for it for whatever reason. Or, you just may run out of time or just need a little more time or whatever. So chasing that, I'm always checking the next check, because my bills are not gonna stop coming.
Keep the pipeline full.
That's it.
Always. On both sides of the transaction. You got one under contract, you trying to find buyers, or if you trying to get them under contract, trying to get the next, you always got to have your pipeline full on both sides for sure. Let's talk about, so you've been doing this since when? How long have you been doing this?
2003, January of 2003.
January 2003. So it was a good market for a few years there, right?
Oh, it was awesome. It was better than it is now. You could get a ham sandwich finance, which affected the wholesale game because now West End, Inslee, just naming those areas, North Permanent, didn't matter. They were buy and flip areas.
What?
You didn't know that? They were buy and flip areas. So just imagine that first time home buyers were getting financed in those areas and wanted to buy houses over there because of those ARMs, those adjustable rate mortgages were allowing a lot of deals to happen. And I don't know if it'll get that good. It's good now because it's different good. Let me just say that. Now there's a lot more competition as far as, guys out there or whatever, just because the internet and people like me to put all this stuff out there or whatever, but that's fine. No one group or person can buy all the houses out there. It's just not even possible. Yeah, right. So, but it was awesome back then, man. You get a ham sandwich finance,
So, ham sandwich.
Yeah.
So the crash happens 2007, 2008. Tell us about it, because you survived. You're still doing it. But you told me off air. You said it was okay to talk about this.
Yeah.
You said you got killed, but you're still here and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk about what happened, and then what was it about real estate that made you get back up on your feet and do it again?
Now, take in consideration, I'm just a country boy. I grew up in a town of less than 1,000 people, moved to Birmingham in 1990, and I'm an entrepreneur first. Real estate is just the most effective the longevity as far as being able to make money. I've done some other stuff, but and so when I discovered real estate, and started making money with it, all I knew is I was making more money every year. I didn't know that it had dips possible or whatever. I didn't know that. And so I was living that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was just out of a relationship with this young lady and a little heartbroken. So, I was just out there
living it up.
I was living it up.
Okay, all right.
So anyway, I was sitting at a closing table, ready to pick up a $13,000 check. And the guy that was buying me from, he was one of my main buyers, and he had his lender on the line because he liked to buy the houses, refi them. This how smooth this game was. You could buy it, then refi shortly after, pull all your cash back out, right? And then he would turn around and still sell it. He just wanted his cash back quick so he can go buy more.
Wow.
But the lender told him, he was trying to check to see, I don't know, he already had that part of it in motion with his lender or whatever, and he called them and they told him they were not doing loans anymore. And he said, Tyrone, we can't do this deal. I said, what? I said, we had to close the tape. He can't do that. I don't think I'm able to get my money back out of it. He said, my main lender, because he was a mortgage broker. So he was in the business. So, and I said, well, what about your next? He said, I can't even get them on the phone. Like that, the next option.
What year was this?
This was in September of 2007.
Wow.
This is before 08,
Right.
And so it just went downhill after that, man.
So you lost that deal?
Lost that deal, right? And I went from probably, I'll just talk about a little money now, before we didn't, I was probably making 20, 25 a month or whatever. It went down to 5. A lot of people say, damn, you still making 5,000? That's still, no, it wasn't. Not when you was living off of,
right.
You know what I'm saying, like a fool.
Right.
I should have, but anyway. So, and then I had just got into rehabbing, and I had a hard money lender that everybody was using back then, Omni. I just said there I'd have been, I can call them. Everybody that's been in the game long that they know what I'm talking about. I had 7 houses that I was paying for on hard money because I was going to retail and flip. And so I did that for an entire year, paid on those loans. I didn't know. I thought it was just going to change around and later. And I drilled, man. You know what I'm saying? Just got drilled.
Wow.
And what happened is that before all that happened, a guy called me out of the blue. He had saw one of my bandit signs, and he was in the gold business, gold buying business. You know that we buy gold stores, or pawn shops always bought gold, but there was actually stores that say we buy gold. And he had already been doing it for years before that big surge of gold buying, when they used to go around the hotels and buy in different markets or whatever. And he told me he would trade his knowledge of the gold buying business for my knowledge of real estate. So I was interested because I'm an entrepreneur, but I could never get him back on the phone, right? So that time went there. So circle it back around. I can't even remember how it happened, but we ended up meeting again. And I understood why I could never get him on the phone, just because his personality, and he talked to a lot of people every day or whatever. And so that really just saved me. I was doing a deal here or there in real estate or whatever, and then I was only the third gold buying store in Birmingham. And then probably a year and a half later, where we were making, I'll talk about a little money here, we were generating about $30,000 a week.
Jeez.
Buying gold. We were $30,000 a week. Jeez. It wasn't all profit, because I'm just saying, but we were going and cashing out, but we were buying $30,000 a week. And so, but competition swelled on that, whatever. Went from maybe being the third one to they were just everywhere. And then I expanded down into a couple of small towns. I had 5 stores going at once, and just got in over my head on that. Then, like I said, just all the gold shrunk up, because of those shows that were going around. So I slowly got back more involved in real estate, and so, here we are, So.
And so you were doing a lot of flips then before the crash. Were you buying and holding anything before?
My brother and I did a few buy and holds. We ended up getting hit on those pretty bad or whatever. But so I was doing a combination of everything then.
So today you're just wholesaling?
Just wholesaling. I'm still, and I know I should be holding, but whenever I start holding, which should be either this year, no later than next year, it won't be residential. It'll be commercial. Yeah. It'll be commercial.
So what did you learn? So you obviously got back in it, and you're back in real estate. What did you learn? What's the biggest takeaway? That maybe some of us.
Well, you need to be a good steward with your money.
For sure.
So that's the first thing. You got to be a good steward with your money, because and it's going to happen again. The real estate market is going to take a dip. Yeah. Because it's hot. It's hot. I don't care where you are right now. Some areas are hotter than others. Some markets are hotter than others, but whenever that dip happens, you're supposed to have your war chest ready to buy some cheap real estate.
Yes, sir.
That's the name of the game.
Yes, sir.
That's what you're waiting on.
Yep.
That's what you're waiting on. That's it.
I talk about that a lot.
Yeah, that's what you're waiting on.
I talk about that a lot.
Now, it won't probably, and I heard a guy say that, I didn't come up with this online. I follow him. I think he knows what he's talking about. It won't happen under Donald Trump's watch, I don't think. And it made sense with the guy. He's business, It won't happen under his watch. So if he do this 4-year term and whatever happens, or if it's 8 years, it's probably just not going to happen. He'll do the things needed that he can control, because some of it he can't control.
Yeah.
It's probably just not going to happen. So we probably got that at least another 3 years.
Yeah, you really don't know. I mean, this is not a political show. I try to avoid all that as much as I can. You're definitely right about Donald Trump business wise. It's so realistic. I wasn't in it, right? I wasn't in it 2007, 2008, but if you look at trends and you look at the past, it's cyclical and it's coming, and we're at the top, we're at the height.
Oh yeah, we are with everything. I was in where was I yesterday?
And I say that, and 2 years could go by, and we could get even more.
Yeah, but you look at the stock market. I know it's dipped in the month of February, but it had no product but to dip because it's so high. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I was in an AT&T store, but buying a new phone. I finally just broke down and bought a new phone because it just I get so many text messages. I really rarely delete any conversations because they go back years, and I like to know what we talked about or whatever. And so I was in the AT&T store, and it was about 3:30 yesterday, I'm like, man, just money just flowing everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And people got it. You know, they got it. So
money's everywhere. People ask me a lot. They're like, man, I want to get into real estate, but I don't have any money. And I'm just like, money. You don't need money because money's everywhere. Everyone's got money. It doesn't have to come from you.
Right.
And there's so many. There are people throwing money. It's just because I'm the face of this thing. They're throwing money in my face. They're right now. What's happening as far as lending goes?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much money out there that's not being put to work that they're desperate. The private lenders and the lenders out there, they are desperate to get money put to use.
I wish you'd channel some of that desperation over to me.
You need some private money? We'll get you hooked up. We'll get you hooked up before we leave. So Ty, wholesaling. What's so great about wholesaling?
It's the ability to make money off techniques.
I think a lot of stuff is a technique, though, right? A flip is a technique.
Yeah, but you have to either invest somebody else's money or your money or somebody else's credit or your credit. Whereas wholesaling, you're literally making money off a technique.
True.
You could be dead broke. I'm talking about dead broke. And if you knew what to do and found the right property and just tied it up on a contract, I hate to keep referencing Matt because I know that's the person that we know. You'll get, Matt will close on that thing for you in 10 days. That changes your whole situation. You make 12 grand.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Would $12,000, anybody listening to this right now, would $12,000 change your situation today?
1,200 will change a lot of people's situation. You know what I'm saying? But 12 definitely changes people's situation.
Ain't no doubt.
You know.
When I got my first, I talk about it every once in a while, but my very first deal in real estate, I made $10,000 on a wholesale deal. I'd never made that much money at one time ever.
I noticed you got me here.
I'm interviewing you, man.
No, how did you? I know you said you used to coach and all that.
What's my story?
Who got you interested in?
How'd I get into real estate?
Yeah.
Briefly, because this is about you, man. This is all about you. Maybe I'll come on your show. You interview me.
Yeah. We're gonna do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I started with Rich Dad Education. So I was on my way to Troy. I'll give you my book before you leave.
Okay.
It talks about this a little bit.
Okay.
I was on my way to Troy. It's a 2-hour and 15-minute drive from my house in Trussville. I was coaching basketball down there. I heard an ad on the radio that said Rich Dad was coming to town. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book. I genuinely thought Robert Kiyosaki was coming to Birmingham to speak. I thought he was coming here to speak. I didn't think that they were trying to sell a real estate seminar.
I'm laughing. No. I know you can take it, but most people really, I guess
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I don't want to cut you off, but I recently went to the Fortune Building with Dan Merrill, and I knew he wasn't gonna be there or whatever. And one of my what it was is that someone made a comment on one of my videos on YouTube and said, "Well, Tom, won't you do a video on what to look for when you go to seminars?" And I was like, I hadn't been to one in so long, I don't know what they're doing, you know. So ironically, one of my friends that go to the same gym that I go to said, "Hey man, I thought about you the other day. I went to this Fortune Builders seminar and I thought about you, blah blah blah." And I said, "Oh yeah." So he said, "Yeah, they're gonna be here all week." So when I left the gym, I went and looked it up. I said, "I'm gonna go to the seminar."
This is the free one, right?
That was the free one,
yeah.
And so so I knew everything they were talking about. It's just amazing, man. Those people in there, they just pumped up
they don't
or
know.
whatever. And this chick passed me her card or what. I think she recognized me or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. So but I was just there to just decide it because I hadn't been in a long time. And because even after when I first got into real estate, even after I started making money, I still was going to seminars, not to really learn anything about the process. I was looking for what as I talked about before, different ways to market. I don't know everything. And I have students that say, "Man, Tom just did this and such." I'm like, "Man, that's brilliant," or whatever. So I was looking for different ways to market. And at the time, I just saying really wasn't nothing new under the sun, back then anyway.
Yeah.
So, you say you were driving to Troy.
Driving to Troy, I heard an ad on the radio. Rich Dad Poor Dad's coming to town. I went. I spent $200. I bought it. I paid $200 to go to a 3-day weekend seminar.
That's $200 you ever spent.
Well,
I'm saying the seminar might have been all that, but I'm just talking about it got you interested.
So it's a catch-22. So at the end of the day, this is why I say I'm on the record for saying this. Rich Dad, if it weren't for Rich Dad, I would not be in real estate today.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to talk bad about them because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There are a lot of holes in the seminar business, period. No matter who you do. We do seminars, okay? And the biggest difference between what we do and what anyone else does, that no one else can do, is that we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We're local, and I go on appointments with you, and I hold your hand. And now they can't, Fan Merrill can't do that. Robert Kiyosaki can't do that for you. They can give you, Flipman will do it. You won't do it. What'd you say? Did you say you will do it or you won't do it?
Well, let me just...
hold on. We're going to talk about it in a second. Because I'm going to ask you about it here in a second. But just to wrap this up, like, I would not be here if it weren't for Rich Dad Education. I just wouldn't be. I paid a lot of money to do their program, and I got a lot of education, like a lot of book knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get boots on the ground training. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have someone to hold my hand. So I had to pay an additional money because I was a hustler. I went out and made $10,000 45 days after the seminar. 45 days after the seminar, I went and just kind of learned it, just kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
Because of the stuff that they gave me, but I went and just kind of figured it out. They didn't give me a lot of the details. They didn't hold my hand. I didn't have a mentor, which I think if you want to get started in real estate, you need a mentor like the Flip Man, potentially somebody like me. You need someone who you mesh with personality-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people that know how to do real estate, and there are a lot of different ways to do real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk. This is a great segue because the last thing I really want to talk to you about is the education stuff. The stuff you're doing. But what did you want to say something based on what I was saying?
Yeah, our stories are similar in that way on how we got started.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard how?
No. Let's hear it.
Okay.
That's usually the first question I ask is how'd you get started in real estate?
Now again, I'm an entrepreneur first, right? So this is gonna be a little lengthy. All right.
Yeah, you're good. The question was, how'd you get started in real estate?
Yeah, I'm not one of these people that have been like, when I was 9 years old, selling lemonade or what of that. The entrepreneur bug didn't hit me until my early 20s when I was in college at UAB. Mm-hmm. And one of the very first things I did, and somebody said I need to stop saying this, but I'm not going to tell you how. Well, I got it out there now, so it doesn't matter. There's tons of video. I had the brilliant idea that I was going to become a millionaire by taking my student loan money and buying used cars and selling them. So I don't know how we figured out stuff before the internet, but I figured out how to get a dealer's license, mm-hmm. right? And I started going to auctions right over there in Moody and Odessa, mm-hmm. right? And I was buying cars, but I quickly found out if you're not mechanically inclined or have someone working with you that it is, you will get your hat handed to you in that business. Those cars, they could be 10 years old and they will look brand new at that auction. Mm. And they will run a little while too. So anyway, long story short, I got my hands dirty and I got out of that. Fast forward a couple years later to 1990, I had tried a couple other things, multi-level marketing or whatever. And fast forward to 1995, and my brother, two of my cousins I grew up with, and one of my brother's friends, we all went to, back then they called it Black Beach Weekend in Daytona Beach. Went down there, and one of my brother's friends drove up from Orlando, and he had been doing, he had started a mobile car wash business down there, and had did 6 figures, right? I couldn't wait till we got back to Birmingham. So I bought a baby blue passenger van where the seats had already been taken out for $900, a 100-gallon water tank, and a pressure washer, and a sign to show when we were on location what we were doing. And I was in business at a mobile car wash. All right. So that was the spring and summer of 1995. My same cousin and one of our friends we went to high school with, we were up here in Birmingham, and we were washing cars. We were showing up at people people that I knew their place of employment and washing their cars and hair salons, building barbershops. We were doing it. It was burning. It was a hot summer. I wish I could go back and check some of those temperatures, but fall rolls around, and you know, here in Birmingham, we don't know what the weather's going to be. So the first morning I woke up and it was 40 degrees and tried to go out there and wash cars. I said, I can't do this. I didn't go to school for this. I didn't go to college for this. So I was out of the mobile car wash business.
But were you successful before that?
Yeah, we were making money. You know, so I had 2 or 3 jobs that I was still working on what I was doing on the side. Basically.
So it lasted all of a season.
A season. You're right. 2 seasons. Spring and
It lasted spring.
Yeah, so a season and a half.
Yeah, I can respect that. I'm not washing cars at 40 degrees.
Not in the ham. No. So anyway.
Not anywhere.
Yeah. So fast forward. So I tinkered around with multi-level market stuff, but with that stuff, I'm not gonna put it down or whatever. Either you can do it or you can't. You know what I'm saying? Only a few people are gonna make money in most of those organizations, right? That's just from my experience and others that I know. So one of my friends, fast forward to 2002, one of my friends, his now wife, were going to school to become real estate agents, and the guy that normally taught the class wasn't there, and the substitute, Don Williams, I don't even know if Don Williams is still alive. Don Williams, he used to have his own little creative real estate investing class every weekend, every first Saturday out of the month or whatever. So a lot of people that listen to that know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And he was there. He didn't talk about being a real estate agent. He talked about creative ways of investing in real estate. So my friend, knowing how I am, he told me some of the stuff that he was talking about. I knew nothing about real estate. I'm talking about nothing. I always just thought you had to have money, so that was just off the table for me.
Right.
And so my friend shared some of those techniques with me, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. That was in October of 2002. So fast forward to December 27th, 2002. I was at home at my mom's house. I'm from South Alabama, Washington County. And if you don't know where that is, that's the county that sits on top of Mobile County.
I know where it is.
And so at my mom's house, and she was preparing breakfast. My favorite breakfast was syrup and biscuits. Handmade biscuits. And I don't have to have any meat or anything. I just slop it up. So anyway, so I was up and I was, back then, how old are you, Brian?
I'm just laughing about syrup and biscuits. Not biscuits with syrup on them. It's syrup first. Syrup came first. It's syrup and biscuits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 38.
Okay.
Right.
You know who Carter Sheets is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard the name.
So back then, every Saturday and every Sunday morning, Carter Sheets probably about 3 hours straight on different channels.
Right.
And so
no money down.
Yeah, I hadn't seen them before or whatever, but you're like, yeah, right.
So what year was this? This was 2002.
There was
December 27th.
December 27th. And so I caught it about halfway through one of the infomercials, and I was like, my friend had sparked my interest or whatever. And so I said, let me watch one of these from beginning to end. Like, they're not telling you they're card to help me make this much money, card to help me make. So they're not telling you anything. But at the end of it, I thought to myself, he can't be lying about all of this. So back then, my mom didn't have internet service. So I waited till I got back to Birmingham. And I did a search on this entrepreneur message board I used to frequent. It was called ablake.net. It's not up anymore. And I asked the question, does Carlton Sheets program really work? And one guy replied, he said, yes, it does, but Ron LeGrand's course is better. And so I did a search for Ron's name, and I saw it was $1,500 for his package. It was just totally out of the question for me at that time. What they did have was a condensed version, a teaser version for $69.99, $80 with shipping. I ordered that. It came in cassette tape form. That's how long ago this been.
In 2003?
2003, cassette tape form.
All right.
And I listened to it, and all it did is just spark me to the highest level I had ever been with anything. And I said, if I had to get a second job, I was going to save that money, that $1,500 to get the full course. But a couple of days later, thought about eBay, did a search for his name, and there were some auctions on that exact course.
Wow.
That package.
How much?
And I lost the auction, but back then, sellers could contact you by email. The guy reached out to me, and we agreed on a bootleg copy of it for $400. It still was a struggle for me to do that, but I just felt I needed to do that. Best $400 I've ever spent in my 47 years of living.
Hopefully, just speaking as an educator and to a fellow educator, hopefully you went back and repaid Mr. LeGrand his money.
I think I repaid Ron because I tell the story and I mention his name.
Okay.
And I know people have bought his products because of that.
Okay.
I'm confident in that.
That's fair.
But I would love to meet him because I think I owe him, as far as my financial life, everything.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's such a great presenter.
Yeah.
Some of his little hype,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But that's fine, you know what I'm saying? But he's such a great presenter. And so I got that information. It was wholesaling, it was lease options, it was subject tos, it was buy, fix, and flip, and he had another one called for sale by owner. I went from knowing zero about real estate investing in creative ways, especially, to just information over. It took me about 3 weeks to go through it all. And so from there, if I didn't get anything out of it, I got out of it that wholesaling attracted me the most. Lease option was second, but bandit signs was a way I could actually do this business.
Yeah.
I bought, just to end this up, I bought the Walmart on 150 on Hoover had just opened. They had a sign yard in the front. They had a sign shop that opened up in the front of it. And I paid $250 for 50 signs. I didn't know any better. And I picked them up on a Friday, put them out on a Sunday morning. The very first 2 calls I received were deals. 30 days later, I picked up a check for $2,500. I skipped part of it, but so my first, and what I consider when my clock started, when I put those signs out, I did my first deal in 30 days.
That's awesome.
$2,500. Not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money. Cause that took me a month to make that on the job I had, but it was like it was $250,000 to me because I had failed at so many other things.
And not only that, your mindset too. Yeah. It probably, because that's what it did for me. It probably proved to you that it was real.
Oh yeah, if it was been $250, it proved to me that it was real. And yeah, I was just blown away, man. You know what I'm saying? And the girl I was dating at the time, she got gone shortly after that. That was in March. I looked at it the other day. I've been saying March 5th, but I actually looked at it about a month ago. It was March 3rd when that closed, 2003.
All right.
I didn't do my second deal, which I made $5,000 until June, right? And she was like, she told me at one point, because I was still riding out that $2,500. Said, well, when do you think you're gonna do another deal? Like she was like basically saying, don't you think you need to do another deal or whatever? So that's
the trap that a lot of newer wholesalers get into, though. That's what we were talking about earlier about keeping your pipeline filled.
Yeah,
you got to keep your pipeline full. You can't, because that you end up, all right, got the deal under contract. Great, now I got to find a buyer. Okay, found a buyer. Now I got to be a closing coordinator. Make sure it closes. Go to the closing. All right, got my check. Yes. What do I do now? Well, crap. Now I got to start the whole thing all the way over.
Mm-hmm.
But if you keep that marketing pipeline going, if you were putting out bandit signs every single week and being consistent with it, that's why it's important. I want to go back to something you said that might be one of the most important things about that story that may get lost with a lot of people listening to this. So I believe that anybody can do this like you do, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. I heard you say that as well. That we're not brilliant people. We're people who took what we were given and took massive action. Massive imperfect action is the way I like to say it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you said, though, is you got those materials and it took you about 3 weeks to go through them all. And I don't know if you're like me. We haven't had this conversation. But when I when I did this Rich Dad stuff, that's one thing you don't have a shortage of is reading material.
No.
You have as much reading material as more than enough. I got this book at the free preview, the free one before I paid, called Find It, Close It, Profit. Find It, Close It, Profit was the name of the book. And it's about 150, 175 pages. Big book. It's on my bookshelf in my office. And I read through that book in about 2.5 hours in one sitting. I devoured that thing because, and this is the piece that I think is missing with a lot of people that try to get into real estate. You cannot get into real estate because you think you're going to be a millionaire. You cannot do it for the money. You actually have to love this. You can't just like, oh, I want to go do real estate and go, I can work my butt off. You might be able to do a deal or two, but it will not be sustainable and you will not have that drive. I love real estate. Mr. Flipman, like I devoured when I first got started every single piece of information that I could get my hands on.
You know, I never thought about it like that. That's an interesting way of putting it.
Does that ring true for you a little bit? 'Cause, like running through those all that stuff the way you said it.
I don't. That's a good question. It's probably the information would, again, the way I received it initially through LeGrand, he presented it so well that I just felt like there's no way I can't do this.
But let me ask you this though: is like you got all those tapes? Did you listen to all the tapes?
Every one of them.
Was there any reading material?
I'm not a reader.
But was there any reading material?
But he had it in transcript form also.
But you listened to all the tapes.
Every one of them. Every
why?
possible available.
Why didn't you only listen to half of them? What kept you going?
I thought I could learn more. You know what I'm saying? Beyond what attracted me, I just
you liked the idea of real estate.
It was just really just interesting.
Yeah.
It still is.
It's still interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
But this is the point I'm trying to make, and this is what I've seen because I've coached. You coach a lot of people. I've coached a lot of people. The successful people I coach are the ones that are hungry because you got to be hungry. The ones that are willing to take that massive action. They're willing to work, put in the work because it's not. You don't just get handed checks. It's real work. The people that I see who are most successful have that thirst for knowledge, have that thirst and that hunger for real estate. They love real estate.
You bring up a good point. I have a good way of putting it down. The 200 currently at the date of this video, I probably have over. I say 200, but it's probably like approaching 300 now. Videos on YouTube, and people watch one of my videos, but I have my phone number pretty much on all of them. This number right here, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I want to get to know what I need to do first." I'll go, my first question, well, how many of my videos have you watched? Maybe about 3. I said, well, the first thing you need to do is, I said you need to take advantage of the free information.
No doubt.
Right. And they don't say, well, I don't really want to, I ain't got the time to do it. I'm a hands-on person. I said, well, I got coaching, step-by-step course, and you deal right with me. Well, I don't have the money to do that. I said, well, and then they'll try to work out a deal. I'm like, wait, whoa. You can impress me by taking advantage of what's free. I'm going to tell you what I would do if I were you. If I would have found me back in 2002, 2003, I would have never paid anyone. It's because I didn't have the money, but the information was there for me to take advantage of it, so show me, so that passion that you need to show, you're going to get into it and study. And don't tell me that you can't do it that way, because I get text messages all the time, Brian, of people I've never even talked to before, and they send me pictures of checks.